What's up, everybody? This is In the Pocket, where we talk about the things and people around sports that you want to talk about. I'm Big Bob. That's Maestro. Maestro, how are you doing today?
Outstanding. Just want everybody to know that I am not the maestro that wrote growth of isolates of the placilomyes, leakiness, and their efficacy of biocontrol in the megadeglion incognito on tomato. I did not write that paper, so don't give me credit for that.
Huh. That's a thing.
That's a thing.
Well, he didn't ask, and that was a little rude, so I'll answer it anyways, acting like he asked. I'm doing fine, Maestro. I appreciate you.
I'm sorry, boo. I promise I was gonna. I promise I was gonna ask. I was just too busy thinking that I mispronounced the word.
So
rude.
I,
I got you. I got you. I'm gonna text you. Let me text you real quick. Here we go. And send.
How do you text on one of those things? How do you do
it? Takes a while. you have to go. You have to go two. So if the word starts with C, you got to press three.
Three times.
Press 3 times. 1, 2, 3.
What about if you want to do a capital letter? What do you got to do? I can't remember. 4 times, 6 times.
So then you have to go into like the pound button to get the upper lowercase, and then your star button for your symbols. And it gets kind of, and space is 0. It gets kind of nutty after
that. Well, let's jump right into the questions. We got a great question from Jay Midoriya. Appreciate you as always, Jay. He wanted to know our thoughts on the Bills, and I guess we'll say their quest for a Super Bowl under Josh Allen. Their first Super Bowl ever, their own 4. Sorry, Jim Kelly. But their quest to win a Super Bowl, now that the Chiefs and the Ravens are no longer in their way. I feel like I have somewhat answered this question a couple of times through a couple different episodes. I just don't trust. I can't. It's like you can't bet against Mahomes as long as he's there. I can't bet for the Bills until they prove that they can get over the hump. Now, I'm not going to say, I know I've said it before, but I'm not going to say I can't trust Josh Allen, because if the offense scores, or if they score 45 points, it's not Josh Allen's fault that they lost. And people seem to think that I think, wasn't the one Chiefs game the one year with the Bills, wasn't it 48-45 or something? It's like, I'm sorry, that's not Josh Allen's fault. This defense should have stopped them one time the entire game. But so I think the difficult thing for me this season is it is so up in the air. Plus, the Bills, they've lost 2. I think they lost their last 2 starters at wide receiver. I think the last I saw this, now granted this was like 4 or 5 days ago, they only got 3 receivers on their roster, 3 active receivers on their roster. So, and I love Keon Coleman. He's a funny guy, but he's been suspended multiple times this year. 3, maybe 4 times he's been suspended.
Yeah.
And I can't. I don't know. Can we trust that Josh Allen is going to be able to use his legs? Because we can't trust that his receivers are going to get it done. But I do think that this was the year for the Bills to finally get there, if they were going to do it. But I don't know if they can do it with that offense. You got Josh Allen, James Cook. I don't see where that offensive. I don't see where the offensive firepower is going to come, and you're going to need it when you're going up against the Patriots or the Broncos, or if you make it to the Super Bowl and you have to face the Texans. Wait, no, hold on.
Right.
No, Texans are AFC, right? Did I mess up? I forget. No, the Texans are NFC.
No, Texans are AFC. They had so this week is the Bills at Denver, and and the Texans at New England.
Oh, that's yeah, you're right. You're right because that Texans defense it's something, and it was something last week. Obviously, this is the kind of game
Right.
that we always expect from Aaron Rodgers anymore in the playoffs. But again, that Texans defense, like, is that Buffalo offense that has three receivers on it, are they going to be able to do anything? And I don't trust them right now, just like I don't trust them because they haven't gotten over the hump in the past. What are your thoughts, Maestro?
Well, so I'm with you on that, and again, I'm gonna make no secret, and Jay, really appreciate this question. Appreciate everyone giving the questions, but Jay, really appreciate this question because we've talked about it a little bit, but we haven't really delved into it. I don't think so. The idea for me is this: the Buffalo Bills have had better teams and have had better roads through the playoffs, with the exception of trying to get through Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, or of course the ever present Mahomes and the Chiefs. And the reality for them has always been they got home field advantage because historically, until this week, Josh Allen had not won a road playoff game, I don't believe. So I think this was their first road playoff win this past week.
Yeah.
And they're on the road throughout. So that means for the first time in Josh Allen's era, if you want to call it that, every game that they're going to have is on the road. And they are the prohibitive underdog in every game. Now that being said, and again, I'm so I apologize. I cut myself off. I made no secret that my thought of the
Wasn't me.
Bills. I know, right? Wasn't Bob? It was me. I have the Bills winning it all this year because this is the year that they need to do it. And that's a horrible thing to say about a championship or needing a championship. But I think that unlike those Buffalo Bills teams that actually made it to the Super Bowl, I think the Josh Allen era would be marked with these are a bunch of really good teams that never, ever, as Bob said, got over the hump. This year, the hump is different. It's Josh Allen's older. He did pull out the last game with his legs. He was very selective about that, which is funny because that's one of the things that we talked about. And the idea of him having that other gear is not quite what it was before. Now, that being said, the Broncos, I think, are there faster than they thought they were going to be. I don't care what Sean Payton says. I do not care, no offense, but I think they're there sooner than they thought they were going to be. And also, if you want to get into the whole thing, everybody talks about strength of schedule, strength of whatever. Well, the Broncos had the schedule they had. Now, you guys have heard me say before and ladies have heard me say before that strength of schedule means nothing to me. You got to beat who's in front of you. The Broncos did that. The Patriots did that. If there's any team that I'm really afraid of, it's the Patriots because they play mistake-free ball. They play mistake-free ball within every possession. So they basically stay in there just long enough doing what they need to do to be successful. And then as soon as the team overreaches, boom, they got them. So to me, that's the one team that if they should have to go to New England for the AFC Championship game, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, is it really going to come through this time? I really feel, though, and in all seriousness, the Chiefs are going to be totally set up different going into the next season, just for the nature of who's going to stay, who's going to retire, who's going to go away. But there'll be something that these teams will not be, and that is rested. And they will have not played their remaining games in frigid cold weather. And I'm sorry, a frigid cold weather game is equivalent of probably a game and 3/4 of a game in regular normal temperatures. Just the cold beats you up and then you're getting beat up on the field. So that has, to me, that has something to do with the wear and tear on the body. And I think for the first time you really saw it with Josh Allen. I know I said it and I didn't want to be right, but I think we really saw it this past week in his runs. He wasn't quite of the speed he normally is. But then again, hey, who can say? I mean, with all the beatings he's taken, Bob, who's going to be there anyway, right? And it's part of what we talked about with like Lamar Jackson. They have a standard that's so far above everybody else that if they're not playing at that level, it just looks weird. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the one guy I never want to talk about, Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. Like you started seeing his, I figured out. You know, if you know, you know. You started seeing bits of him at the end of the season because he found it. And oh, by the way, there's probably no prettier ball in the NFL than Aaron. However, what you see with him playing legitimately, I know he played in Green Bay, but like playing against the win in Pittsburgh. What you see what happened with a lot of with a lot of guys who have those tight spirals. In cold air, the spiral grabs more. Don't worry, I'm getting back to Josh Allen on this. The spiral grabs more, and you have to throw it nose down the way Tom Brady gave a great masterclass on like how do you tip the ball in cold versus hot weather versus wind, whatever. And Aaron Rodgers has this thing where he throws a super tight spiral, and it's fighting gravity, fighting wind as it's going up. But when it starts coming down, it picks up speed exponentially throughout the movement. So the ball is going to get to you faster than it would. And that's, to me, that's when you see those drops. A lot of cats who catch balls with the jugs, the ball's at the same speed.
Yeah.
Yes, it's hard, but it's the timing that's off. So you have to know as a receiver, I'm speaking as a former receiver, you have to know that when that tight spiral is coming down, that it's going to get to me a lot faster than it would in hot air. It's going to get to me a lot faster than it would anyway because gravity is now assisting the pull down. So that means I have to pace my hands where I'm going to do open hand catch, like side to side. So I'm trying to do my camera here. Side to side catch here. Here we go. Side to side catch. If I'm going to do the T wing catch or if I'm going to do the W wing catch, I have to decide the ball's going to hit my hands faster than I think it's going to hit before I actually start to grip to control the ball. That being said, Josh Allen throws a sloppy spiral. His receivers have no choice. When to me, when you see a Josh Allen, when somebody drops a Josh Allen ball, the person wasn't paying attention, and he can do it in the cold, in the wind, against whatever. So that being said, I'm want to bring it back because I wanted too far already. The idea for me when I see where Josh Allen is right now, and who he has left before he gets to the Super Bowl, I think these next, including the Super Bowl, these next 3 games are basically going to be his career. If the Bills can stay close, and then he understands what that next gear is. The Patriots don't understand what it is, not this version of the Patriots, and not this version of the Broncos. They don't understand what that next gear is, and he does. And I think he can do that. I think he can get the team through to the Super Bowl. Hopefully that answered your question from my side there, Jay. But that's why I see them getting there over everybody else.
Yeah, I do. Again, I just struggle with the fact that they're just down all those weapons on offense. And that's why I personally do believe that the Rams, I believe this is the year for the Rams, and Stafford's going to pick up his second championship, right? He hasn't won more than one. I think he just won that one. Did he win 2? He won 1.
No, only one.
Yep. Because I think that was the year. Wasn't that the year Donald retired right after they won the Super Bowl? Yeah, I think this is
he can play, doesn't he?
Donald. Oh, but Donald, he could have played for another 8 to 10 years. He was one of those guys who took care of himself. He could have played 8 to 10 more years, but he left on his terms, and he's not gonna have a mush brain 10 years from now, and we're not gonna be hearing about him doing all these crazy things because he took care of his body and he made sure to leave on his terms and didn't overdo it. So you gotta have respect for him. But
absolutely,
yeah. So Jay, appreciate the question, but sorry, Maestro, Rams are going to win the Super Bowl, not the Bills. But anyways, we're gonna let's stick. We talked about the Ravens a little bit. You brought up Lamar Jackson. So let's stick to that topic because obviously the biggest coaching news after the during the playoffs, after the wild card and stuff, one right before Harbaugh gone, and then you have the Steelers. We all know Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. He was given an ultimatum. He didn't sound like a guy that was going to walk away from this team. And then the very next day, he's no longer with the team because he decided to step down.
Right.
Mike Tomlin was given an ultimatum: either you quit or we're going to fire you. And it just the whole situation, along with these two and James Franklin. I'm sorry to tie it into Penn State. These situations
No, it's
all seem very similar. Where
yeah.
did the air just get a little bit stale? Did the culture get a little bit stale and you need a fresh start? I don't always, in the moment, I don't always necessarily agree with that. But when you give it a little bit of time and you think about it, it's a possibility that, yeah, hey, we just need to go a new route. Now, from the sounds of it, the New York Giants are going to reap the benefits because I do think John Harbaugh is going to be able to
Yeah.
turn things around with the Giants. However, I also don't think the Giants probably should. I get that they stuck around with Dayball for so long, and then
Yeah.
once he finally got
And
some talent there, but then injuries killed it. You
and the
can't,
way they did it. Yes.
yeah. So it's like it's when it comes to all the injuries, like, Maestro, you say it all the time. There's maybe 10 to 12 star quarterbacks in the league. Once you lose your quarterback, or once you start losing all your star players, at the end of the day, I mean, is that the coach's fault? Is it bad luck? It could be the strength and conditioning coach's fault. But at the end of the day, the injuries is really, besides them being the Giants gianting. They're never the worst team, but they're never the best. But yeah, I do think they did Dayball a little dirty because they did hang around with him for so long on this rebuild
Mhm.
that never really came to fruition. But I do think John Harbaugh is going to immediately go in there and turn that culture around for this team, and players are going to want to go play for Harbaugh. So I do think that
Yeah.
now, obviously, there's always tension in Philly right now with Sirianni and Hurts. Are they now again? You just never. It's always something. Even if there's nothing, someone's going to make something
Get it.
up.
I
So
don't get Philly. They win the Super Bowl. They win the Super Bowl, and then the coach is around the next year. Then he's gone. Last year he won. You won. This coach wins you the Super Bowl, and this year
and
there's no
yeah.
way. It's like
Well, even when they won the Super Bowl, it was like the next day there was still talk about, that's what it
exactly.
felt like. Is the very next day you're questioning whether or not this guy should be there. So obviously, all through the playoffs, there was the questions. I do think and now sometimes I like whenever people are just upfront and honest, but this Ravens owner, I feel like he was very disrespectful in the way that he talked about Harbaugh following the firing, because one of the comments he made, somebody asked him a question, one of the reporters asked him a question: if the Ravens would have made that field goal, would Harbaugh still be here? And he's like, for one more week. So, like, to me, it was a disrespectful comment because you're saying, well, we didn't really want him to stay around anyway, so we were going to move on probably no matter what. But you can't just move on.
Yeah.
18 years, Harbaugh 18 years, Tomlin 19 years. These are guys that earned, I think, the right to be able to walk away. Now, obviously, if you go 3 years, 4 years, just absolutely disastrous results, you got to move on at some point. But
Toxic locker room, all the other stuff that
yeah,
comes along with it. Yeah.
yeah, but these two guys brought so much to their teams, even though it didn't accumulate in all these Super Bowls that were expected. But at the end of the day, they
Right.
still did so much for these franchises and kept them relevant. I mean, I just feel like they were both of them were done dirty. And I know Steelers fans, they were wanting Tomlin gone, and then all of a sudden, after he's gone, there was less of them that really wanted him gone. It's like you either wanted him gone or you
Yeah.
didn't.
See,
It's the same. It was the same with Penn State fans.
that's what bothers
Uh,
me with that dude. That whole thing of, you know, in baseball season, you see this a lot. Team loses a close game. Everybody wants the manager gone the next day. It's
Mm-hmm.
like it's 160. It's 162 games. Come on, somebody, please have a modicum of just just pump the brakes a little bit. Just go through it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Those EKG fans make me nuts, man. It's like I'm sorry, but everybody has an opinion. Even if your opinion's wrong, it's okay. It should be listened to, but I don't have to hear it if I don't want to. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought, Bob.
No, I should. I'm just gonna keep rambling on. Whoever ends up with Harbaugh, which it clearly looks like it's going to be the Giants. He might sign with the Giants by the
Yeah.
time this episode uploads. It sounds like they're just working on the numbers at this point. Tomlin supposedly isn't going to be coaching this upcoming season, but it sounds like
Right.
he's a guy that I would love to listen to. I would love to hear what he
Oh,
has to say about
100%.
sports, and I
I
know
want him
there's
in the I
already,
want him in the room.
huh?
I want him in the I'm with you. I want him in the room. I want him in the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah, so it sounds like it sounds like I think CBS Sports might have already reached out to him. I don't know if he's going to do that. Though. That might not be his thing. I
No.
honestly he started saying some off the wall stuff there at the end when people were asking him dumb questions. He started saying some off the wall stuff, but I appreciate it. Nothing I can say.
That's the
The
pressure.
one thing that I loved I can't say on here, but I thought it was hilarious. Go look it
Yeah.
up. Just go look up Tomlin and some crazy things he said in the last couple weeks as the Steelers coach. But no, yeah,
Well, first of all, if you got Aaron Rodgers the quarterback, the crazy he's a carrier. So, he's definitely patient zero with crazy. Wherever he goes, he's going to bring crazy where it is. So it's just what it is. Aaron. Um, ironically enough, and I'll just say it this way, you really get a chance to see the pressure on those coaches. Go just if you just look up wacky coach press conferences where coaches have said these crazy things.
yeah,
Go back now. Go back and that point, look at where they were in the season and look at how many were not with their team the next year. And in some cases, not even press conferences. Some cases, it's like what. So if look up the story, I'm sure it's public by now. If not, I'm not going to say it. Look at what Mike Singletary did in the locker room at the end of a San Fran when he was head coach of San Francisco. That one act he did, talking about proving your manhood as a football player, ruined his opportunity to ever get a head coaching job for the rest of his life, other than high school or Pee Wee ball. And there's millions of dollars on the line. There's lots of pressure, and not everybody can handle it. The one guy that I can honestly say, and I loved him even when he was a Philly, and that is Andy Reid. Like I never saw him lose it, no matter what was going on. That's why I always respected him, no matter how the pressure was. He always kept his cool. That being
hey,
said,
go ahead, go ahead.
no, go
I was
ahead.
gonna
You got
say
it.
we were talking about the whole fresh start thing. Philly did. Andy Reid was one of those guys should have probably stuck around in Philly forever. But you know what? The fresh start. He needed a fresh start, and he took that. He took advantage of that fresh start, and great on him. Great on him
I know.
for
I love it.
taking that
I
fresh
love
start.
it.
Yeah.
I love he's one of my favorite people, as is his wife. I'm just gonna get this out of the way right now. So I had a real quick Harbaugh story. I was trying to make a tryout. As most of you already know, Harbaugh is a special teams coach. He's not offense, defense. He actually hung his hat on being a special teams coach. And special team coaches are different. They talk different, they act different. There's a little left lean of Mississippi in their brain. And at the tryout, so it's a wide out. They have you run, go through these paces and stuff like that. See how see how fast you can digest routes. See how you can recognize which side of the field should be on left or right. This whole thing. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm sorry, Bob's going too late. So
No.
he's watching us work out, and I was coming back from running a route, and sometimes they'll tell you good route, good timing, good something or whatever. A lot of times the guy at the end of the route will just be writing some stuff down on the clipboard. I was walking back and Harbaugh walks up to me and says, "I hope you like to play special teams." says, "Excuse me, sir. Actually, I do." He says, "Good, because that's the only way you're going to make this team." he just, but the way he said it was just like so cold blooded. Like, he put the lotion in the basket or just the hose. Just like the way he said it to me. But he was absolutely right. Um, he was absolutely right with that. But what I learned later was just the fact that he even spoke to me meant that he saw something. So, and special teams was one of my things coming up between ball, all the way through college. So, because I was like being on special teams. But anyway, when I see him, I see a cat that has the understanding. His brother could fall off the planet and I'd be okay with it forever. um, just that's a whole nother. So I'm not going to waste time on this podcast because we're talking about the good Harbaugh. I've always appreciated the way he led organizations. I'm going to say it that way. And one of the things I really like about him, which is I'm going to get to the chase of the whole thing, so I can cut myself off, and that is Harbaugh will not only change the culture, but Harbaugh, because of his experience of being with a team that had good ownership, good leadership in the upper office, good leadership in the management office, and good leadership with the surrounding coaches, that he can really reset that culture to be what it needs to be to have Giants football. And those fans will appreciate the kind of game he's going to bring to them. That being said, the way Dayball was handled, I agree with you. And this is why we talk about teams and coaches don't want to tank, because you want me to lose games. I look bad on film. Then whenever you improve, I'm not going to be around to enjoy the improvement. Did they hang on him too long because no one of note was available? Probably. But it gave him an opportunity to build what he needed to build with the team. And quite frankly, I just didn't see him being that guy. I felt like Dayball had too much on his plate from the beginning, and I think it was the wrong situation for him, not only being in New York, but just the way the New York Giants are organized. I just think it was too much for him to begin with. I think if he would have been anywhere else, I think if he was anywhere else, he might have had a better chance. If he'd in Jacksonville, if he's in someplace like that, I think he might have survived better. But that being said, he was an NFL head coach for a number of years. He's going to get a head coaching job again. I can see it as soon, because he's that kind of guy that people like. And I really wish the best for him. I do feel, along with you, Bob, I feel like he was done wrong. One of the stats I heard about Harbaugh was that he has given up the most double-digit fourth quarter leads than anybody else in
I didn't hear
football.
that.
So wait, but and I'm glad you didn't, because I'm sorry, it's a stupid stat, because they said he's given up 17 double-digit fourth quarter leads.
But that's big.
But now, how many years was he a coach?
Oh, you're right. I mean, I can't remember. Was he a head coach before he was with the Ravens? Not in the NFL. Was he ever head coach at the college level?
No.
But
Nope.
18 years. I mean, he was there for 18 years.
18 years. So let's do the math. That's one double-digit loss a year. That's not like he had 17, like the Jets have 17 in the first two games. So I thought that was a throwaway. I mean, to me, look at the division.
I think I might have misunderstood the stat. I thought you didn't say he had double-digit leads heading into the fourth quarter and lost. You didn't say that.
Yeah. I apologize. Okay, I'll restate it. He blew the most double-digit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I did hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
Okay. So, but to me, look how many years he was coaching. One.
Yeah.
Two, look at the division which he's in. Look at who he had to face every year. The Patriots at their height, the Colts at their height, the Steelers. See where this is going with this? So the fact that if you only get one of those a year, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So that's whoever put out that stat as a down thing for him, you should no longer be allowed to say stats for anybody. You should go and just clean the grill at Waffle House. Just get out the way.
Just stats like that. I remember there was one again. Now I am going to still say James Franklin. I love James Franklin. I feel like he should not have been fired. But again, I think the fresh start is going to be good for everybody. I think Virginia Tech is going to find themselves probably consistently winning the ACC, probably making the playoffs sooner than later. But there was a stat that came out after after Penn State hired Matt Campbell. And one of the things about James Franklin, they big game Franklin. He could never win the big game. And they pulled
Right.
up the stat of how many wins, his win-loss record versus top 25 teams. And they pulled up
Right.
Matt Campbell's win-loss record against top 25 teams. Matt Campbell only had one more, and I'm saying only, but it's necessary. Only one more win against top 25 teams than James Franklin. And people are like, "Oh, yeah, there you go. Penn State, they really did better. They got that coach that has that one." It is extremely hard compared to Penn State. Penn
Thank you.
State should have winning records against top 25 teams. Iowa State, it's so much harder to win against top 25 teams at Iowa State, a team that nobody talks about.
Right.
So, yes, he might only
Much
have
like
one
Indiana
more.
this year.
Yeah, he might have only had one more win, but all those wins compared to at Iowa State compared to Penn State, it's different. You have to look at things. You have to look at the context of
We don't
everything
do
and the
that anymore.
stats. The stats.
We don't do that anymore.
No,
We don't
and
we don't do that anymore.
and you can't just look at a stat and go, "Yep, that's what it is." It's like that's how we are with everything. The news, you get one report about something, and that's fact, no matter what. Nothing else can
Yeah, no
change
matter what.
anybody's
Yeah,
mind. That's fact.
exactly. And here's the thing, and here's why, as those of you who watching us and have watched us, and we appreciate you so much, know the reason that we don't hang and live on the numbers. We give you the numbers, we always try to give you the context behind it. That's why I brought up the whole thing about the most double-digit fourth quarter leads blown than any other coach since 1970 or whatever. But I said that's basically one a year. I think as a Jets fan, I would take that 17-year record and blowing one a year, then supposed to, like, by the time one day the Jets will be 0-10 and will somehow find a way to make the playoffs if it keeps going the way it's going now. First team to ever do that because of tiebreakers or something weird. But anyway, it's just, I don't know. It burns me up when people try to diminish the records of guys like that.
Yeah.
And for those of you, and so, and with Tomlin, and I'll be real brief on him.
Yeah, we didn't talk about him at all. Jesus.
Right, exactly. Because it's like, okay, to me, coaches are like quarterbacks, or like there's certain positions, there's certain people I look at that I can say I can win with this person. Like there's certain coaches that I don't care who they're coaching, I feel good about him. The days of Pat Summitt with women's basketball at Tennessee, the Gino Auriemma at UConn, Bobby Knight only had one Hall of Famer ever in his entire college career.
John
he got
Wooden.
3 national championships. John, exactly. There's certain people, certain coaches, when I look at them, I don't have to see who's on the team. I know that person has positioned them in the best way possible to win. And Mike Tomlin was one of those people for me.
Yeah. 19 years, no losing record.
No, exactly. So, again, I would take that. Hello. Just saying. So I hope this is public knowledge, and if it's not, I gotta apologize to a lot of people. So for those of you who might not know, there's the Rooney Rule in the NFL that you have to interview a coach of color for the head coaching position, and it's named after the Rooneys who own the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
So Cowher leaves the Steelers, and they're trying to get the head coach, and it had already slipped out undercover that Jay Wisenhunt was going to be the next Steelers coach. They'd already decided, but they just wanted to go through the interview process. And somebody happened to say, "But wait a minute, have you interviewed somebody under the Rooney Rule yet? In other words, a candidate of color." Like, no, we hadn't. It says, "Oh, well, okay, well, let's get somebody." And now a lot of teams handle it this way. So it was kind of shady, but here's what ended up happening. They end up calling in Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin comes in, blows them away. Now, Jay Wisenhunt is apparently getting ready. He's packing up his place wherever he was, California, wherever he was. He was packing up his place and already kind of told people he's going to be the next head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The very next day, it gets out, it's going to be Mike Tomlin instead, because he blew them away in the interview. And it was some kind of hard feelings about that. That's why when the Steelers faced off against Jay Wizenhunt ended up getting the job with the Cardinals. When the Arizona Cardinals, when they faced off, it was kind of like this undertone of like, yeah, basically it was kind of like you got my gig kind of a thing. And of course the Steelers end up winning, but that bad taste in his mouth caused Jay Wizenhunt to kind of say some things in the ether that you probably shouldn't say about ownership in NFL because it's a very small group, and I think that's one of the reasons that after he left the Cardinals, I don't think he got another head coaching job in
I'm trying to
NFL.
remember because I think is it Jay or Dave? Oh no, I'm confused. I think
It's
I'm
Jay.
thinking.
It's Jay.
I'm
It's
thinking
Jay.
of the old Pitt coach. I can't think of his name.
Right, right.
What was his name?
You're
Winehurst?
killing
Weinstead.
me.
Weinstead.
Winsdale.
Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
no, I
yeah.
can't remember. Did he coach for the Dolphins before or after the Cardinals? Because he was on the Cardinals
Oh,
or on the Dolphins at some point. I'm pretty sure.
I think it was before.
Yeah,
And please fact check us on this.
fact
But it
check
was one of
us.
those. Yeah, please. We love that.
There's lots of sports history, and sometimes we do it again. We're
Yeah.
not researching before the show. We
No,
want it to be as
we
real as possible, and sometimes we might make
exactly.
stupid mistakes, but just let us know.
And then we'll always own it, and we will always learn something from it. So that's how he ends up with the Steelers. That's how Tomlin ends up with the Steelers job. And of course, what is it? 19 years later, look at what you got. So I always said, if the Steelers ever let him go, when the murmurs around them want to get rid of him, about 7 or 8 years ago, or actually a little bit more than that, we're kind of getting big. I said I will go and throw him in the back of my car and drive him up to the Jets facility and say, "Here's your new head coach." And I would just apologize to him once I unduct taped him and tell him that I'll make sure I treat his wife and family a lot better than I treated him.
Man,
Because I would take him in a heartbeat.
he's one of
I'm
the
sorry.
biggest what ifs for me for the Vikings.
Yes,
He's
great
one of the,
call.
like just why I get. It's just one of the big. It's one of those things where hindsight's 2020. We did
Hmm.
what we did, and man, I couldn't imagine. I would have loved to have him for 19 years as our head
Yeah.
coach
Who
versus
who 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 wouldn't have? Who
yeah,
wouldn't have?
yeah.
And you saw it happen. I mean, you could see that in him then. Like this cat is a leader of people. I want and again, how many coaches forget the teams? How many coaches do our listeners or our viewers feel like if you made a list of, it doesn't matter who they're coaching, doesn't matter who the quarterback is, doesn't matter who who on the sideline will you trust to to scheme, lead, take your team to victory? How many quarterbacks? I'm getting back to this again. How many quarterbacks do you feel like, no matter who they're playing with, leave Tom Brady out of it. He's not playing right now. I'm talking about who's on the field right now. That no matter who they're playing with, it could be 7 octopi and a turtle, whatever you got. That if that's my quarterback, we got a chance. And I'm telling you, that list is not long. That list
Let's
is not long at
let's
all.
try. Let's try. I know we were doing really good on the time, but I know we're going to start running. This is what we do. We always start. We do good on the time, and then we start thinking. I'd say you got Matt Stafford, Patrick
Okay.
Mahomes. Probably, I
Okay.
mean, you would have to put Josh Allen in there. I mean, but you
I
have to
would,
put
I
Josh
would
Allen.
definitely put Dodgers. I would 100%.
Um,
Yes.
Healthy Joe Burrow. He's a
He's a
fence. He's a
question mark.
fence for you. Yeah. Okay.
He's a question mark for
Um,
me.
I'm trying to go through all the
See, when you can't even
man.
remember who starting quarterbacks are, this is my point. This is my point. It's like when you're sitting there cold bore, no look up, off the top of my head, and not just thinking of the teams that are successful, right? So look at, let's be honest, Geno Smith has to be in the right situation, otherwise he yuck and poo. All right, yuck and poo.
Well, I mean, you're using Geno Smith now again. Geno Smith, he severely overperformed with the Seahawks with what anybody
Boom,
expected from him.
boom.
However, will you go look at the Chargers? Justin Herbert. People love to trash Justin Herbert right now. Go look at
I
how
would trust
bad that
Justin.
offensive line was.
I would trust him. I would trust him.
I would trust Herbert. Look at how bad that offensive line was. I mean, what were the numbers? It was like 4 of the 5. I can remember 4 of the linemen. It was
Mhm.
like 35, number 35 out of 35 in the league at their position. I think one was 35 out of
Right.
36. One was 38 out of 30. Like literally the worst players statistically at their positions is
Yes,
what's
they're still
blocking
pros.
for Justin. Yes.
Yes, they're still pros, but at that level, the difference between 2 players at that level, you're talking a quarter of a second. Sometimes in speed, you're talking an eighth of a second. Sometimes in reaction force, push time. The metrics that they measure linemen on now, extension, reach, bull, step, all those little miniature metrics that most people don't care about because who knows about the lineman. And I know this because that offensive linemen are my favorite herd animal. Those guys cannot make a single mistake, and I love the way they work together. It's very beautiful. And you have to respect the fact that they're the ones taking the brunt of the abuse on every single play. So the metrics that they have, like, they know if these guys give, not only if they give up a sack, but they also know how, who works better as a guard, who works better as a tackle, who should be on the blind side. In other words, if the quarterback is right-handed and they're going to stand to pass in a regular position, their back is going to be to the left side of the line. So who can be on that side versus who can be on the front side? Just different things like that. And I am sorry, even as professionals, that little bit of a difference means either somebody like a TJ Watt is eating the lunch of your quarterback or is slowed up just enough to give your quarterback a chance to get off the pass.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all these other things so all these other elements have to play into it. And so even though these guys might have measured out as the worst in the NFL, they're still pro players, but it shows you the difference between good players and the players who are there on the roster. Yes, they're
Yeah.
still pros. Would they put me on my butt? Absolutely. Could I get past them? Absolutely not. But at that level, when everybody's at that level, it's a difference.
Everybody.
It's a difference.
You can scheme if you have a weak spot on that line. You can't scheme
Right.
when your entire line is a weak spot.
How many plays did you see Justin Herbert? It looked like there was nobody blocking. And I'm going to be honest with you. A couple of them I went back and looked to see, okay, did he call a wrong protection? And for those who might not know, what happens is, now here's why being quarterback is so difficult. I'm getting in 2 or 3 plays in my headset in between what's the play clock? 35 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
35 seconds?
35, 40.
I'm 35, 40 seconds. So I'm getting in 2 or 3 plays, and they're like, XYZ rumble, piano cake, 35, flat, go. And I have to spit that out to my team, and everybody has to know their responsibilities. And then we break. Then we walk up to the line. Now the play clock is going down. I actually taught a class for non-football people as a college professor, and I loved it because we would do classroom stuff the first couple of days, and the next couple of days we go out on the field and we set up like a team so they could actually get the scope of what it looks like. And I get some players to come hang with me so they could really see what they were dealing with. So now the quarterback walks up there. Now as they're walking up, they have to say, okay, are they playing zone? Are they playing man? Do they have a three linemen or 4 linemen? Is it an amoeba set? Whatever. Okay, who's gonna, in this format, when I studied my film, who's going to be the rusher? Who's going to try to come from the? Who's going to drop back into coverage? I'm going to figure that out while I'm also conducting my team. No. You got to be on this side, Maestro. No. You stay there. Okay. I kick my foot out to set motion. Bob goes into motion. Is anybody following Bob? No. So that means they're in the zone. Okay. Or they're faking the zone. So and then clock is going down. And then now hike. Oh, I'm sorry. Even before the hut, I got to tell my linemen to set my protection. Okay, that's the hot guy right there. If anybody's going to come, he's going to come. Or this guy's going to come. Or we're good, which means nobody come. That means you block on responsibility. All that stuff is going on while that clock is going down. That's a lot of pressure. And then it's my job as a quarterback to know where everybody's going to be at every single moment on the field. And Justin Herbert, and a couple of times when you go back and watch the Chargers, there are a couple of times when he would call a protection, do whatever, get the hut, and next thing you know, all four linemen are basically sitting on his helmet. And it's almost as if his offensive line didn't touch anybody. Like they all just went to space. I felt so bad for him because I've seen a lot of that with like, there's one thing that the Jets have always had was really good offensive lines. We just never had really good quarterbacks. So you would see these cats who couldn't throw the ball 12 yards get all this great protection.
Yeah. Same with the Browns.
Yeah, right. So, it's like, oh my God, getting everything together. I didn't mean to curse, I apologize. So, it's just the whole thing of, so Justin Herbert he was definitely Sisyphus trying to push the rock up the hill. And in that particular setting, just to say this, he's still someone good on good. I would feel comfortable with him. More comfortable than Joe Burrow, to be honest with you. I feel comfortable with him. 2 minutes left to go in the game. We got the ball on our 5-yard line. We got to drive 95 yards. I would trust him probably more than I would trust Joe Burrow. But that list is very short. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people forgot what the list was, but it was like, what quarterback would you pick sight unseen with whatever team that you would trust to lead your team when you needed a touchdown, not a field goal, a touchdown?
There's probably like 7. There's probably 7, and I cannot put your Bo Nix, your Drake Mays, your CJ Strouds in there yet. They're not yet. But outside of your Mahomes, your Lamars, your Josh Allens, your Herberts, again, there's probably about 7 that are out there where you can really, really rely on them. And
Flacco was that guy for about a 4-year period. Right, Joe Flacco. Am I giving him too much credit? I
don't know. So there's some guys. I hate to say it. There's just some players that there's something about their face that just makes me not like them. And Joe Flacco was one of Joe Flacco, Jay Cutler. Didn't matter what they did. No matter what they did, their face, I wanted to punch it, and it didn't. They could have saved a million puppies and cats, and I still want to punch their face as hard as I can. There's something about them. I don't know.
Here we go. Real quick and dirty. Jets are playing the Chargers back when Jay Cutler was their quarterback, and I mean this is the. I think this is the playoff game that wait, who was Jay? Yeah, Jay Cutler was with the Chargers. Was he with the Chargers?
No, Bears.
I'm confused. Yeah, you're right. I'm confusing him with Phillip Rivers. Never mind. But I would have done the same thing to Jay Cutler as I did to Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is one of those guys that I just usually when I see a pro athlete, whether I like him or not, I at least say, hey man, I really love watching your art, or what's going on, whatever. I'm out at the game with the media credential. This is when LaDainian Tomlinson had came over to the Jets, and it's when there was a wild card game, and the Jets won. And it's kind of walking through whatever, and Jay Cutler comes by, and it's Jay Cutler, and mostly it's the quarterback. And he looked like he wanted to say something to me, and I just kept walking past him like I didn't even see him, just because I didn't. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Phillip Rivers. That was Phillip Rivers who did that too. And if it was Jay Cutler, I'd have done it. So to me, they're the same. I'd done the same. And I know it was rude. And I actually sent an email to their press crew apologizing for my behavior, because I was wrong for that. Because he really looked like he was sincerely wanting to, at least, I don't know if he thought I was somebody or obviously what it was, because he didn't know me from Adam. So maybe I looked like somebody that he knew or whatever, and he was going to say something, and and his hand comes out, and I just right by him. It's like it was a ghost, and it was wrong. And I did apologize for it, Mama. I was a good boy, I promise. But
speaking of maybe he thought you were somebody, I do want to let you know, and I never told you this, but I have one of my best friend. He was my best man at my wedding, Paul. He told me you sound like somebody. Sound like that? You sound
Uh-oh.
like a famous actor, and he
Oh, boy.
can't put his finger on it yet. I racked my brain. I said Michael J. White. I don't know if you know who that is.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, Michael J. White. Okay, okay.
I don't know. That was I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can get Michael J. White from, but he's still
Maybe
trying to
not.
rack his brain. I'll let you know who he thinks you sound like.
Please, please, because maybe he might think, that's my name. How else can you know how I see unless you see out my eyes? A little Morgan Freeman action going there. Sometimes you just got, or you're like, Denzel. I guarantee you this right now. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to get done with that. I guarantee you that right now.
Yeah.
Wait, hold up. Please don't say it's Christopher Walken, because what we do when I run to the toilet, and I'm just a boy from the hood and around the way, and that's what we do. But so, I'm sorry.
Well, Maestro, let's move on to our final topic.
Yes.
I am going to make I'm going to make an executive decision right now.
Okay.
Our true final topic, I think we should have another discussion. I think we should have a specific episode relating to betting in college sports and the NIL.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we should make a little special episode with that. So I'm gonna
agree with you.
I'm gonna cut that from our table right now. You guys are seeing live. We're at the cutting table right now. We're gonna make a special episode regarding that in college betting, NIL, and college sports. But college football national championship this Monday, Miami, Indiana. I know neither of our teams are in it. Your team was a little closer than mine was. Mine was nowhere near it. 7-6. Hey, we finished with the winning record, though. I guess that's something to hang our hat on after a 6-game losing streak. But yeah, you got Mendoza versus Beck. 2 transfers coming in. Beck, your boy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would he have made a difference for you guys? I don't know.
No.
Do you think he would have made a difference?
No. He became. I'm happy for him, but he became poison in the Georgia locker room.
Yeah,
he really did, and that says a lot, because there was a lot of poison in the locker room. Speeding tickets every 17 seconds. Unfortunately, a couple of deaths because of driving. Just the team was just a mess. And also, you get this guy who's got a Lamborghini and got the TikTok, Instagram girlfriend, and just he never felt like he was really a part of the team. And when Gunnar Stockton came in, they really coalesced around him, and that's why the performances got better, though the talent wasn't the same. That being said, I'm really happy for him and where he is, though.
When are athletes going to learn the speeding, the doing stupid crap in a car, the drinking and driving?
Not me, dude.
Not
me, dude.
It's ever.
Wait, Bob, you played. When you got that guy on the team, and I'm saying guy on the team, because I played, but I also coached. Like, I mostly coach women's sports. But it was mostly with the guys' side. There's always that one or two guys that better than everybody. I watched enough Fast and Furious movies. I know how to drive. I watched enough Law and Order. I know how to get out of a ticket, whatever. And never. The answer is never, because those rules don't apply to them. And if they did it in high school, depending on where they came from, somebody covered for them. So they never had to pay for the consequences of their actions, except for now the consequences have gotten deeper, especially when it costs people their lives.
Yeah.
And my biggest disappointment with Georgia was the fact that so many speeding tickets, so many fatalities. So one fatality is 20 too many, but it's just all these stuff's going on. And it was just like at the height of those 2 back-to-back national championships that was going on. So then the walk-on quarterback leaves. People forget that the Stetson Bennett was a walk-on. The guy that led Georgia to those 2. He's walk-on. So now here comes the guy, supposed to be the guy, right? Carson Beck, blah, 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 blah. And he was just never part of the team. Never part of the team. And he goes to Miami. He seems to fit right. Everything seems to be good. I do wish him well. I'm just going to cut to the end text right now. I just don't like the coach for Indiana. One of these cats, and it's nothing personal. It is nothing personal. It's just if I was a AD, he's not the kind of person I want to represent my school. That being said, he's done an incredible job there. That being said, I think he is the right coach for them at this time. We did like 4 episodes ago. We talked about the rise of Indiana sports across the table, and I think he's the right
Or
person
around the
for them right
table.
now. Yeah,
If you know, you know.
if you know, you know. But the reality of what he means to Indiana sports now, it's kind of like what Bobby Knight meant to them
Yeah.
back when he was at IU, right? So I kind of want this game to end in a tie, -7 to -7. If you know, you know. But yes, in a lot of ways, I would like to see Miami walk away with this one. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have no skin in the game, and normally I kind of care a little bit, but it's like if Carson Beck wins one, great, and Georgia did, okay, fine. He was at the right spot, at the right time, at the right team. He did what he did. But something about Indiana, man, I just can't. And by the way, Indiana's one of the schools I almost end up going to, so it's not like I don't like. I'm totally cool with the school, but I just think that Indiana's right now is on such a roll, and they've not only won every game against everybody they face, they bulldoze them. I mean, they might play with their food the first 5 minutes of the game, but after that, they're totally smashing the egg across your face.
Hey, Penn
So
State.
that's something
Penn
to be
State scored the most points
that's
against them all season. Let's go.
exactly. So I mean, it's just everything you need to know that how tough they are. I have a feeling that my heart would like to see Miami walk away with it, but I have a feeling Indiana's going to get the job done, and good for them.
Yeah, it's one of those things. People always say you can't root for the team in your division or a team in your division, and I don't necessarily agree with that unless it's the Bears.
The Bears.
No, but seriously, I don't agree with not being able to pick for a team that's in your division. And I know, sorry Tim, I know this hurts you a little bit. My buddy Tim absolutely does not want Indiana to win because of what they did to Penn State on that last play of the game.
Well, yeah.
That was the last. It was the but I do want Indiana to win. Now there are some things with Kurt Signetti that I am a little about. The whole. I actually didn't know about his. They asked him about. Well, they asked him when they first hired him in Indiana. They asked him about if he was gonna do well at Indiana or something. I don't know the exact quote, but he was like, "All you got to do is Google me and see what I do." And it was like it's one of those things where like it's funny, but at the same time, it's not really what I would want. As I wouldn't want that as my coach, but I also, for the majority of, or for the first half of my life, my head coach the head coach of the team that I was a fan of, Joe Paterno, he would have never said anything like that. So it's just kind of one of those things where that was just the norm, is you don't say things like that. But it is a completely different world, which we will talk about again with the betting and the NIL and stuff like that in that episode. But it's a completely different world, and it's not college sports anymore. It truly is another professional league.
Not. Yeah. You're right. You said it perfect. Another professional league. It's not necessarily the top level pro league. It's not necessarily minor leagues, but it's another professional league indeed. Now the way it is, you nailed it right on the head with that.
Yeah, there's I don't think there's a difference between college football now and the G League. There's no difference. There really isn't.
I agree with you. I do. I have nothing else to say. I agree with you.
And obviously, there's no difference. There's no difference in the G League than college basketball, since they just a week or two ago approved that player that got drafted into the NBA to go back to Baylor. So I don't know. It's just a little bit of everything. We got Penn State. They just signed a player. He's going into his 8th year. You have the 9-year tight end who I believe is coach for the tight ends coach for the Patriots right now, or assistant tight end coach, something like that. Yeah, well, I could ramble on about this all day. But
I'm
so
60. Look, I'm 60. I think I have a couple of years of eligibility left. I'm gonna see if I can go play something.
hey, they got that 50-year-old that's out there playing D3. Hey, if you can do it, if they told me that I could go play for a D3 school right now, I probably would. I probably would.
Why not?
I'm not
Why
60, but my back feels like it is. My back feels like it is. But no. So you think Indiana? You're going Indiana?
Yeah, I'm thinking Indiana. It's just the way that they're playing to a standard. It doesn't
Oh,
matter
I
who's in
did
front of
not. They
them.
smacked Oregon. I did not expect that. I didn't expect. But
Yeah.
you knew when
No one did.
that first play of the game, interception for a touchdown. Oof, that was the tone setter. Right now you can't bet against Indiana right now. They're 15
No,
and 0,
no.
and they're killing people.
They've earned it. They've earned it.
Yeah,
Now, here's my question to you. They win it this year. 5 years
yeah.
from now, are we talking about them as winning from 5 years from now? Are we talking about them winning at least 2 or 3 more, or are they remember that year that Indiana won it? What,
I
what do you
I
think it's
think
going to be?
so. I think it'll likely be. Hmm. I think history tells us this is going to be the year that Indiana won it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think he has a proven record across
Agree.
all of his every stop that I think he has a proven record that if he sticks it out at Indiana, people are going to want to come and play for him. I think they're consistently going to make the college football playoff as long
Yeah.
as they can continue to bring in high caliber quarterbacks. Now, people are going to go and say that Mendoza isn't a high caliber quarterback. Look at his stats.
Right.
He shouldn't have won the Heisman. I'm sorry. The best player on the best team in college football that's undefeated deserves the
We talked
Heisman
about that.
Trophy.
We
Yeah.
talked about that. We talked about
So
that. That's what it's going to be.
it
Let it
is
go.
all going to be dependent on that quarterback situation. I forgot Mendoza was a redshirt junior. He can come back next
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
He can come
He
back
totally
next
can.
season.
Do you,
So
question. You think if they win it all, you think he will, or think he declares?
So I, as a Penn State fan, I didn't expect any of the guys that came back this season to try and win a national championship to come back. I think Mendoza reminds me of Tebow, and I think he would want to come
Good
back and try
point.
and win another
That's a
one.
good. It's a great pull by you. Yeah, yeah. I think he enjoys college life. I mean, and look, Bloomington, Indiana. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. People can talk about small towns if you want to, but college towns. When you're right, college towns are awesome.
Yeah.
And to be, and especially with a place like IU that is just so involved in so many different things on so many different levels. Great music program, great medical program. Just you're talking about one of the premier academic institutions in the country, really.
That's what they were known for.
And
That in basketball.
yeah, right, exactly. So I'm sorry, but spend time in Bloomington. I think Bloomington's an awesome town. I really do. And if I'm big man on campus and I bring a national championship and I got another year to go, why not?
You're gonna make a couple $1 million anyway. So
exactly. So you know what? And that's the other thing. That NIL to keep me there, might as well take advantage of that. Take a shot at the pros if it comes up. If it doesn't come up, fine. At least I got 2 years of that, and I hopefully I did right by my money, and everything is fine.
yeah. Yep. All right, so we both got Indiana winning the national championship.
Yeah.
I don't think we can. I don't think we can bet against them right now. But
no, I don't think we can.
Maestro, I appreciate you as always. Jay, appreciate the question. I do apologize.
Yeah,
I tried something new this week. We only got one question. That was from Jay. Tried something new. Tried it a little late, but we'll try it again next week. Hopefully, we get some more questions from the fans. Maestro, you got any final words for the people?
Just appreciate you guys so much. Just really do. Thank you for hanging with us. Thank you for those of you who we look at our stats, and most of you guys watch almost the whole doggone show, which is amazing.
You guys really do. You guys watch a good chunk of the episode. That I know we always joke about how long we make these episodes. Not saying people are sitting here for a whole hour. I know some people do. Listen to the whole thing. But some of you do stick around for a lot longer than we would expect. But we appreciate every single second that anybody sits here and listens to us.
Exactly. And oh, by the way, if you duck out because it's early, go and leave a comment. Say, listen, guys, it got a little long on me, okay? And that's fine. Feelings will not be hurt.
No.
We want the feedback because we're trying to talk about the stuff that you want to talk about in a way that you would talk about it as if we're hanging out, right? So, please, just whatever, if you love it, thank you. We thank you that too. But, our feelings do not get hurt
No.
for stuff we need to improve
For
on
nothing.
because we need to
For
hear
nothing.
because we need to hear from you. We want to and need to hear from you guys. We appreciate you.
If you disagree with me and I hurt your feelings, go talk about how fat I am. Go ahead. I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings. You think I don't know? If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Well, Maestro, I appreciate you. Everybody that's listening, everybody that contributes, I appreciate you guys as well. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.